Namaste. My name is Shavika and I'm from India. And I'm really thankful to SRC Asia and Oceania Committee members, Dr. Bansal and Vice Chair Visani sir. Uh, I also welcome the discussants, Simran Borges and Zoop Chukwama to this wonderful webinar. I'm really thankful to SRC Asia and Oceania Committee to provide me this wonderful chance to share my journey of how I straddled between the disciplinary boundaries between humanities and engineering. But before I start, I would like to tell that I'm sharing my own journey, which I think should motivate the young researchers who are in the preliminary stage of deciding what topic should they select, or if in case they are ahead in the journey of research, then still how they can incorporate natural sciences and social sciences together. Uh, and I would also want to make that remark before starting that this is this webinar is no guideline, but it is rather a call to inner voice that in case if you believe something, in case if you believe new ideas, innovation, which research is all about, then you should go ahead for it, even if it is not welcomed at the first hand. So I will be starting with my own journey. I will be sharing what has happened throughout the life and how that determined my career prospects. Currently, I am a guest lecturer at Shobit University. I teach sociology to students, and I'm also Youth Ki Awaaz Climate Action Fellow because I really see water in everything. I will be discussing here that how uh, my interest in water evolved and how I am viewing water politically from a political lens. So it will be quite relevant in this context that we are here for SRC Asia and Oceania webinar. So let me start. I will be starting with a reflexivity talk. Uh, this is the presentation that I recently gave, and the topic was related to literature. So I am using the same slide, but in a very different context, but the explanation remains the same. So during my childhood, I am born and raised up in a family of professors, lecturers, principals. So I have a very academic background. And that academic background is marked by multidisciplines. Like my father is from commerce, my mother is from English literature, and also there are people who are pursuing chartered accountancy. There are people who are pursuing different sorts of trades. So I am born and raised up in a family where I have always listened some different kinds of talks. But when it came to engineering, as a girl, as a daughter, I was the first civil engineer. And I have always loved, like I feel there is this inherent inheritant trait, or I should say there's something very organic in nature which leads you in life. And it is for that reason I have always liked subjects like social science, history, geography, civics, polity. I used to score very good in that. And I used to love that naturally. Even when I was a child, when I didn't have any idea about streams, what is natural science, what is social science, I used to perform well in natural science, but at the same time, I was naturally inclined towards social science about what's going around me, what is society. This is something I can give words today, but at that point of time I didn't know terminologies like society and social institutions, but I had this keen sense of observance. Then what happened in my class ninth standard, I really got some teachers who were not that interactive in class for subjects like mathematics and science, and that uprooted my interest from these subjects like mathematics, science, physics, chemistry, biology. That uprooted my interest. And after in ninth, I pathetically performed in mathematics. I scored somewhere around 34 marks out of 100. And after that, in class 10th standard, which is a very prestigious exam in our country, uh, I had to hunt for good teachers. And luckily, I was fortunate enough, I got two teachers who taught natural science in a way that it 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 was like a story to me. For example, mathematics problems never appeared us to as a problem because our teacher used to formulate it in a way that it appeared as some relatable story. It was no more a mathematical problem. And this stirred up my interest in natural science. I went, I selected science as a stream. So what I am assuming is that most of you listening this uh, are from social science background. And you might be thinking that natural science can't be incorporated in our work. And I must tell you that I'm going to give you some examples that will make you feel that social science and natural science can go hand in hand. This is what I have realized so far, and people are doing it. First of all, there used to be two streams like hydrology and social science. From social science, there used to be subjects like political science, sociology, economics, history, and there is this one stream called hydrology in civil engineering. People are merging that, and in this era, it is the responsibility as a sociologist, as a political scientist, that we take the initiative to learn natural science as well. Anyways, I took civil engineering after completing my science stream. I took science stream. I completed my 11th and 12th with science. I took civil engineering. There I studied more than 5 subjects that were related directly to water. And that those 5 subjects uh, were my favorite ones. I used to love reading about how dams are built and to do all the mathematical calculations, the procedures, how reinforcement should be given. I used to love that. And in my third year, I had a chance to visit slum areas because I joined one organization, Help Us to Help the Child. I had, because I joined this organization, this required me to visit some slum areas. Now, there I saw that water is not just something that can be quantified, measured, or that can be controlled. It is not a quantifiable, uh, colorless, odorless H2O that I have learned in my class. But it is more than that. I tell you how. When I used to ask the students that you didn't seem to have taken a bath today, they would say yes because we didn't get water. When I used to ask students, generally girls, that why you were absent, they used to tell me that we had to go to fetch water. I am not lying here, but actually most of the times the answer was related to water. And for me as a civil engineer who always have loved reading about water, calculating about water, balancing the equations and thinking about water as colorless, odorless, H2O, was now really shocked that after even I'm in third year, I'm not able to address these answers that why water is not available here. Why is this shortage of water? Is the water cycle is not working properly or is it something else? Then in my final year, I went to MNC, and in that multinational corporation was situated in one of the most developed parts of a country. And there I had this totally different scenario where the we had splash fountains, and there was water sceneries. The water was used as a beautification tool. Now in my third year and in my fourth year, these two contrasting images, that one has water, one don't have water, one is using water for beautification and one doesn't have even clean water to drink. It's the question of livelihood. It's the question of survival there. And at that point of time, I recall myself of the subjects I have taken so far in civil engineering. No subject could answer this, why there exist these two contrasting images in the same region. The difference being that one is a very developed one is called as slum. So I thought that subjects that I have left behind, like social science, uh, these subjects are necessary to understand the social reality. In sitting in class, calculating the water equations are not going to make me understand my best subject. I'm not able to answer the social realities of life. So I decided to take masters in sociology. Now I will be telling you that it is not easy. For example, you are a social sciences student. Now you are expected to do your masters, your higher studies in that one stream, because careers are not designed in a way. Even college vacancies for higher studies are not designed in a way that if you're a student from social science, you can take natural science. If you're a student from natural science, you are welcomed for social science. The competition is very tough because someone from social science is going to master that terminologies, master that vocabulary that is used in social science. And now if you even have an inherent interest that you passionately want to do something to understand your favorite subject, you are not welcomed because you have to go back, you have to learn social science, you have to study those 11th and 12th books. And basically that is what I did for a year. I studied sociology, and there I understood that sociology is not that easy as it is considered. That sociology in the hierarchy of education curriculum lies at the bottommost at the bottommost level in the hierarchy of subjects, how they are deemed as superior or inferior. So after reading sociology and getting some frameworks, getting you as political scientists definitely know that how it works. You have some thinkers, you have some theories, and from that theories you look the social reality through that prism and their different manifestations. This is something I learned myself. And after that, because I had that interest in water, I kept reading, I kept self-teaching myself that how to visualize water. I'm taking water here as an entity. It can be something. It can be financial literacy for some of you. It can be natural resources of any kind for you. But because my interest was in water, I explored water, and I will be giving example of water only. And that took me to a traditional water management system. In fact, where I and Dr. Bansal met for the first time was at a conference. It was a national seminar where I presented my paper on traditional water management systems and indigenous knowledge. So this took me further ahead. I started participating in conferences, in seminars, webinars, and that took me uh, to another pathway where I started networking and communicating with like-minded people. I became a climate action fellow, and here they trained us. So I learned sociology of water from different angles and different perspectives, being in the community of like-minded people. So here the takeaway number one is that never limit yourself. So if you are in a particular discipline, don't create a boundary around yourself, because no discipline is complete. It needs some other thing also to substantiate it, to make your understanding about a certain topic or subject complete. And here I would like to quote that, for example, if you take that history is different subject, sociology is different subject. So here is this one quote that will summarize that no, history and sociology can go hand in hand. And the quote is that sociology without history is rootless. You're not going to get to any roots if you're not considering history. Sociology without history is rootless. History without sociology is fruitless. You're not going to get that, okay, why changes were done, why changes were good for the society. And both these subjects of social science can go hand in hand. This is what we call as interdisciplinary studies. So I'm telling you that don't bound yourself. If you're a political scientist, you can come along with a hydrologist to make that person understand that what is the power mechanism of water distribution, how water is distributed in the society. And a hydrologist will tell you the geographical features of the region. He or she will tell you uh, that in what part of the community the water quality is good, in what part of the community the water quality is below the permissible limits. So you both can come together and can do some wonderful studies. But so far we have been creating boundaries around ourselves which need to be removed. The barriers need to be removed if we want to have some really inclusive research, if we need to have some uh, substantiated ideas, not just theoretical frames, but something that is substantiated by numbers. Especially for social scientists, it is very necessary to do an evidence-based research also, if we want our research to be used in policy making. So coming to next, my professional experience, I would like to share that I worked in one of the best institutes of our country, uh, Central Building Research Institute. It's a central institute. Now I will tell you an example. Here my work was not related to sociology. I was inducted here on the basis of my civil engineering qualification. But what experiences I gathered? I worked here for a brief period of time, for 6 months. So I would like to give you an example of washrooms. Now, how you will conceptualize washrooms in a political sense way, because most of you here would be from political science, so I will be taking the facilities of wash in a central government institute in a from a political lens. So what used to happen that we used to have men toilet uh, at each floor. So men's toilet were available at each floor, but for women we had only two toilets at the ground floor. So there were three buildings, and toilets were available only at the ground floor for women. So I used to have my seat allocated at the second floor. Now, whenever I had to use washroom, or my friend, my colleague, she or me has to come downstairs. Now, it would look very simple that there is no politics in it. At the same time, I had this privilege to go to another building where our director used to sit. And there used to be proper clean toilets. And at each floor, you could find a toilet for women also. So how the power dynamic work here? The toilets, the wash facilities are available in such a way that is determined by who is sitting where. The main building had toilets for women at each floor, but where the other people were sitting, like project assistants, project associates, project researchers, in that building, we didn't have toilets at each floor. So this is something can be viewed from a political lens, and this is need to be done like for in that particular organization called Central Building Research Institute, which does all the technical studies that how to build and what measurements need to be taken, what should be the reinforcement, what should be the stability. They are unable to make their campus women friendly. And here the social science insight will help. If they call someone, if they call an architect that we need to build some new infrastructure to make the place gender inclusive, then the architect may tell how aesthetically that can be done. But if social science is incorporated, they will first make a remark that at each floor we should have toilets for women. And here comes the role of social science. When we make disciplines inclusive, when we make two disciplines coexist with each other, we are doing this for a society. And society at large will be inclusive. And we have very good examples, like when we have complete scientific approach towards environment, we have seen that the much destruction have taken place because people were not taken into account. Dams were built for the sake of people, for providing services to the people, uh, for development, for growth, economic growth. But at the same time, it made people vulnerable. Who did this study? We have some wonderful studies today on displacement and development. Who did that? We as social scientists. But if a civil engineer is also endowed with knowledge of social science, then these solutions like building a dam or a water structure can be more humane, can have human aspects to it. That no, we will not build a dam of this much capacity. We will build a smaller one because it is going to impact a small number of people. And for the greater good, we should take this into account. We should take environmental cost into account. And that is the beauty of going beyond your boundaries, of crossing your boundaries, that you make your studies more humanistic. And this is what we need for realizing sustainable development goals, isn't it? So you as researchers have really important role to play in the society. I will be touching it later on by touching upon the next topic, that I had communication with almost everyone in different fields. People from commerce, people from uh, social science background, people from natural science background, political science background. I had communication with everyone, which helped me. And this is what I recommend to young researchers, that don't refrain yourself. Uh, when I sometimes attend technical seminars also to understand what's going in the field of civil engineering. At the same time, I also attend social science webinars, seminars, to understand that what is going in that particular discipline, because my interest is to combine the both. And if not combine the both in my own works, but to have an understanding so that I can take informed decisions. And this is what I have to say to all the students right there who are doing political science research, that your research is not limited to your own stream of social science. Try to find out some professors who take interest in combining the both. This is something a really difficult task to do. And I must also tell you that it is being conceived that it is easy for a natural sciences student, like an engineering student, to learn social science. And vice versa is difficult, that a social sciences student, political sciences student, for example, cannot go back and study what has been taught in 4 years of civil engineering. Well, this is a genuine thing, that it is a genuine doubt, and in practice also it is very difficult. But I would say that there should be spirit, and if you are spirited beings, nothing is impossible. So if you have interest, if you are studying water from a political lens, or any natural resource from a political lens, you can go for the technical aspects of it also. It is not that difficult. You don't have to go uh, you can go through the courses of uh, water, and you can go through the courses of which are freely available. Many are freely available lectures on water, to understand the natural science aspect, that how the water is tested, how the testing is done, what are the criteria of testing. And it is not that hard if you really want to learn. So if I completely come in the boundary of sociology, I will say that yes, it is difficult to study natural sciences after you don't have any idea of science in your 11th and 12th, but it is not impossible, and we have this responsibility as a social scientist to eliminate this doubt that we can't go back and learn natural science. We can do that if engineers can learn social science, then why social science students can't go and learn natural science, at least for their particular topic. And today we are having digital humanities. So like in political science, there is this interesting topic of how uh, how the electoral dynamic works. People are using artificial intelligence, data science to understand the trend and norm, that why Democrats win, why Republic win, who is going to win, and who is going to vote for which party. To understand that, artificial intelligence is being used, and data science is being used, uh, that scratching of the internet is being used. There are many different things that is coming up, which generally people of computer science used to ace. Now we as sociologists, we can do that also, like political scientists can do that also, can masters computer science and computer engineering, the subjects that are told in computer science. So that is also an engineering, and that is also a part of the disciplines that are considered to be quite technical. So the whole idea is that you you don't have to limit yourself. If you want to learn something, then go for it. Maybe the career prospects are not bright today. Maybe you find yourself that you are not getting employment. But if you are if you are able to take yourself in that direction which is new, you are tend to find some difficulties. You are tend to find that you are not being accepted. Like social scientists will not accept you, though no, you are coming from civil engineering. Why here? And the when I go to civil engineering part, I will be told, no, you do your sociology. You're not welcome here. We have to create that inclusive disciplines that welcome each other to understand everything in a better and holistic way. I hope my idea has resonated with many, because sometimes our questions can only be answered with a technical explanation, and sometimes it can be answered qualitatively. It needs an answer which has an explanation to it. So the combination of both will give an answer that is the best thing to do. And at last, I will be sharing my experience as a social civil engineer, that research has to be taken with utmost responsibility, because it determines what you are defining as development, what you are defining as poverty, what you are defining as inequality, what you are defining as gender norms, normativity. You are defining something which translates into policy making, and then it further trickles down to people at large. So if an economist defines that this is poverty, that below $2, if someone is earning daily wage of $2, the person will be called poor. It is going to impact the people at large. This is what need to be understand as a researcher, that it is not just for having a secure and safe employment. It is a very responsible job. Then it is also a responsibility to overcome the disciplinary cold war that is going on, that you are not welcomed here, you are not welcomed here. We need to come ahead of this, and we need a more inclusive study space, academia, that where we can think beyond what our contained knowledge has told. So as I said that in third year, fourth year, I was not able to answer many questions, but today, after understanding sociology, uh, subjects like political science also, economics also, I have gained that knowledge that I can today have a mental frame that what is working, what is not working in a given case, in a given region, that water is supplied to part A, water is not supplied to part B. And here is this politics which I'm going to decipher in my own PhD. And hopefully, if I get enrolled in coming year, I will be glad to share my story again with you all. Coming here, Dr. Bunsil, I will be in touch, and I will like to share that again, that what I have explored so far. And this kind of studies that I'm telling you is not something that I am very uniquely doing. No, people are doing this. If you type socio-hydrology, you will see that it is a very good example of how natural science and social science can go hand in hand. Then, so especially subjects like social science, why are they necessary? Because you are students of social science, majority of you know this, that it enlightens you. But this is remarkably felt by students who are from civil engineering, because they are never taught that what is functioning in the society, how is it functioning, what is the power dynamics behind that. And when once you get to know that, okay, this is the reason that why dam is building here, okay, this is the reason that why this particular project got approved, it enlightens you. And critical is not negative, is not something negative. I always tell this, because when people start communicating, if I go to a particular natural science department, I start communicating with them that no, this is something that is working, it is not this technical that it has been shown, there is something beyond it which you need to look at, then people will say don't be critical. No, critical is not going is to be negative. You are going negative, you are making something, your point of view in a negative light, to show something in a negative light. It is not that. The point is that critical helps you to know the truth from a different vantage point. As a civil engineer, if I see something like this, as a social science student, I will see something from a different side. It's the truth. Like moon, we see from earth, we see a bright face, but from behind it is dark. At the same time, it's the reality. The moon is brighter at the front side, it is dark at behind. One can't deny this. Similarly, critical is not always negative. It is truth from a different vantage point, in contrast to a dominant narrative, which is not dominant. So I consider that I being a civil engineer, when I learned these subjects and got to know the theories by Plato, by Socrates, and by Durkheim, I felt that this enables us to question what is wrong in the society. So what you are studying, what you are uh, studying as a political scientist, it is definitely going to impact the society. So take your career with utmost responsibility, with utmost sense of ethical consideration. Then I should also suggest that go and read some good literature, because it again helps you to open the mind. And some literature is being written in a way that it is an English literature, or it is a particular regional literature that is translated into English or in a dominant language, but it helps you to grasp the social science reality also. My mother keep narrating me some very good stories that are examples of how social science is used, how natural science is used in detective fiction. So if a dead body is floating over water, how uh, buoyancy, how the law of buoyancy is working. So go for that literature that helps you to explore more, understand the topic of your interest in quite detail. And then the last thing is that we all talk about sustainable development goals. The intersectionality of subjects, the coexistence of different subjects from different streams will not only help us to achieve sustainable development goals, but the larger framework X SDGs, where X refers to the intersectionality both in social reality and the disciplines. And what does this X specifically means? Interdisciplinary, that arises because of our different identities. As I explained that we as women didn't find wash facilities as conveniently as men do in our building. So this need to be studied, wash facilities with the intersection of gender, and with the intersection of power also, the power hierarchy in that particular organization, that who is sitting where. So we have lots to explore when we start viewing things from an interdisciplinary lens. here I will end. I would like to thank everyone who has joined, and I'm really sorry that I could not go live because of some personal reasons. And Meenakshi ma'am will give you my email ID, which is Shivika Agrawal, SHIVIKAAGGRAWAL, Shivika Agrawal dot Shivika Agrawal 3232 Uh, I will send email ID to ma'am also, and she will type it for you. I'm extremely sorry, but I really enjoyed sharing my journey, and I would also like to uh, read some of the comments that you have for me, some of the questions that you have for me. Uh, and as I said that I would be happy to join you again if I start pursuing my PhD soon. Uh, and I will be more than happy to share my own experience with you. Thank you so much. Namaste. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye bye.